Socialist societies are usually better off than capitalist societies. In socialist societies, usually healthcare is free. Usually they don't have to worry about being exploited by their managers and by the people that they are working for. Usually in the socialist perspective, this is working for the state. In the socialist world, everyone is paid more because they are working better. If they are working harder, they are able to get paid more. In a capitalist society, we don't get paid more because we work harder. We get paid more because we get a certain job. This has nothing to do with how hard we work, it's just how much the capitalists want to pay us. In socialist states like the Soviet Union, whether that be in the Ukrainian SSR or in the Russian SSR, people were paid by how much they were working and how hard they were working, not by what job they have, but instead because of how hard they were working. A load of people think that in a socialist society everyone gets paid the same. That isn't technically true. You get paid more because you're working harder. In a socialist society, you don't have to worry about people exploiting you. That is why socialism is the ideal society for people and for even the government in some cases. In socialist societies, healthcare is usually free. In capitalist societies, specifically in America, it's not free. I see people complaining about how socialist societies are deemed to fall down. That's not correct. The only reason that socialist societies fall down is not because they're socialist, but instead because capitalists are trying to meddle with societies. If we just leave socialist societies alone, then they are able to flourish. This is the same case with countries like Cuba. The only reason that countries like the United Kingdom have free healthcare is because the Labour Party got voted in. And the Labour Party at the time was considered a socialist party. We can't get rid of the Queen in the United Kingdom, we can't get rid of the monarchy in the United Kingdom, regardless of what ideology we have in charge of our country. Because parliamentary, we have been forced to keep that monarchy for years, and the things are taken in place so that no matter our ideology, we cannot get rid of the monarchy. In the USSR during the Great Depression, they were flourishing. This is because the USSR didn't have to face the same consequences as capitalist countries had. The USSR's economy was completely different to ones like Great Britain, the United States, Germany, etc., etc. Stalin knew exactly what he was doing, and while many people think he was a bad man, he did a good job with keeping the economy in check. The Soviet economy was flourishing while the rest of them were just dying off. If that doesn't sound like a good society to you, then I don't know what does, considering that living conditions were better, healthcare was free, they didn't have to worry about too many things like taxes in the USSR, and everyone was just able to live an ordinary life without having to worry that they were being exploited all of the time. In the USSR, things were completely different to how capitalist society is. Traditional values were kept, and everyone was just able to have a happy life, unlike in these capitalist countries where they were suffering from the Great Depression. The reason why the USSR collapsed was because of capitalist intervention. If the capitalists did not intervene with the USSR, then the USSR would still be up to date, and it would be the most powerful country in the world, most likely by a lot. They would be further ahead then the United States of America, they will be further ahead than Britain. They will be further ahead than most capitalist countries, if not all of them. The USSR was ahead of capitalist countries for a long time during the Great Depression. Socialism is the futuristic ideology, and capitalism is an ideology of the past that we must scrap before it continues to ruin our lives, and it has a drastic effect on how we handle things in real life.